Imagine building a company worth billions, a titan of the telecom world, only to watch it implode under the weight of an $11 billion lie. That's the story of WorldCom, a scandal so massive it didn't just shake Wall Street. It changed corporate America forever. How did a company that once rivaled AT&T fall so spectacularly? And what secrets were they hiding that brought it all crashing down? Stick around because this tale of greed, deception, and betrayal is one you won't believe. Let's rewind to the late 1990s. WorldCom was a darling of the dot-com boom. Led by CEO Bernie Ebbers, this Mississippi-based telecom giant was gobbling up competitors like MCI and sprinting toward the top of the industry. They were the backbone of the internet, handling massive amounts of global data traffic. Investors loved them. Wall Street cheered every move. But here's the kicker. Behind the glossy financial reports, something was rotten. What do you think happens when a company's ambition outpaces its ethics? To understand WorldCom's rise, we need to meet Bernie Ebbers. This guy wasn't your typical suit and tie CEO. A former basketball coach and motel owner, Ebbers had a folksy charm that made him relatable. He started WorldCom in 1983 as a tiny long-distance phone company called LDDS. Through aggressive acquisitions, over 60 in just 15 years, he turned it into a global powerhouse. By 2000, WorldCom was worth $175 billion, and Ebbers was a rock star CEO. But was his empire built on brilliance or something far shadier? Here's where it gets juicy. WorldCom's growth wasn't just about smart deals. They were cooking the books in ways that make your head spin. From 1999 to 2002, the company inflated its revenues and hid billions in losses through accounting tricks. How? By misclassifying operating expenses as capital expenditures. In plain English, they took everyday costs, like paying for office supplies or network maintenance, and pretended those were investments in the company's future. This made WorldCom look insanely profitable when, in reality, it was bleeding cash. Can you guess who was pulling the strings behind this massive fraud? The mastermind, or at least the guy who got the most blame, was CFO Scott Sullivan. Known as a financial wizard, Sullivan was Ebbers' right-hand man. He orchestrated the accounting scheme, directing WorldCom's finance team to manipulate numbers like they were playing a high-stakes game of Monopoly. But here's the question. Was Sullivan acting alone? Or was Ebbers in on it too? That's a mystery that still divides people today, and we'll dig into it deeper in just a moment. By 2001, the telecom industry was starting to wobble. The dot-com bubble had burst, and WorldCom's stock was taking a hit. Investors were getting nervous, and the pressure was on to keep the numbers looking good. Sullivan and his team doubled down, fudging the books to the tune of $3.8 billion in 2001 alone. But here's the thing. Lies like that don't stay hidden forever. What do you think happens when the truth starts to leak? The cracks began to show in early 2002. WorldCom's internal audit team, led by a woman named Cynthia Cooper, started sniffing around. Cooper wasn't some high-flying executive. She was a diligent, no-nonsense auditor who sensed something was off. Late at night, after most employees had gone home, she and her team pored over financial records. What they found was jaw-dropping. Billions in expenses had been misreported. Cooper didn't just stumble on a mistake. She uncovered one of the biggest corporate frauds in history. But what would you do if you found out your company was lying to the world? Cynthia Cooper faced a choice. Stay quiet and protect her career, or blow the whistle and risk everything. She chose to speak up, reporting her findings to WorldCom's board in June 2002. The news hit like a bombshell. Within days, Scott Sullivan was fired, and the company admitted to inflating profits by $3.8 billion, later revised to a staggering $11 billion. The stock tanked, dropping from $64 a share to pennies. Investors lost everything. Employees were laid off by the thousands. And Bernie Ebbers? He claimed he was clueless about the fraud. Do you buy that? Let's pause for a second. Imagine you're an employee at WorldCom. You've got your life savings in company stock, maybe a mortgage, kids in school, Then, overnight, your job's gone, your savings are worthless, and your company's a punchline. How does that feel? That was the reality for tens of thousands of people when WorldCom filed for bankruptcy in July 2002, the largest in US history at the time. But the real question is, how did no one see this coming? The truth is, there were red flags. Analysts had questioned WorldCom's numbers for years, but Wall Street's hype machine kept the stock soaring. Eber's acquisition spree masked the company's financial weaknesses, and regulators like the SEC were slow to act. Even Arthur Andersen, WorldCom's auditor, missed the fraud, or worse, ignored it. Remember Enron? Same auditor, same story. Coincidence, or something more sinister? Let's talk about Bernie Ebbers for a minute. The guy was a larger-than-life figure, often seen wearing cowboy boots and preaching frugality while living large. He borrowed hundreds of millions from WorldCom to fund his personal investments, yachts, ranches, you name it. When the stock started to dip, he was in deep trouble. Some say that's why he pushed Sullivan to cook the books, to keep the stock price high and his loans afloat. But here's the open loop. Did Ebbers really know about the fraud, or was he just a CEO who trusted his CFO too much? The fallout was brutal. In 2005, Ebbers was convicted of fraud, conspiracy, and filing false documents. He got 25 years in prison, one of the toughest sentences ever for a white-collar crime. Scott Sullivan cut a deal, testifying against Ebbers and serving 5 years. Cynthia Cooper, the whistleblower, became a hero, named one of Time's Persons of the Year in 2002. But for WorldCom's employees and investors, there was no happy ending. Billions in wealth vanished, and trust in corporate America took a nosedive. What does that tell us about the price of unchecked ambition? The WorldCom scandal didn't just end a company. It changed the game for business. It led to the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, a law that tightened corporate accounting rules and made CEOs personally liable for financial reports. It was a wake-up call for regulators, investors, and executives. But here's the lingering question. Could something like WorldCom happen again? With all the regulations in place, you'd think we're safe. But corporate greed doesn't vanish. It just finds new loopholes. Let's zoom out. WorldCom's collapse wasn't just about numbers. It was about people. People who trusted their leaders, believed in their company, and got burned. It's a reminder that behind every stock ticker, there are real lives at stake. So, what's your take on corporate greed? Have we learned our lesson, or are we doomed to repeat history? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As we wrap this up, think about this. WorldCom started as a small dream in a Mississippi office and grew into a global giant. But when ambition outran integrity, it all came crashing down. The lesson? Success built on lies is no success at all. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep hustling.